We will start with my colleagues from Slovenia, Corinne Brenko and Oskar Pork. Maria, could you help us with the change here? And we have our great project assistant, Maria, who fixes everything, and therefore I will very often say today, Maria, could you help us with this or that? We have a 10 minutes presentation about Slovenia. Actually, I think you have only 7 minutes, and we have some minutes space also for questions. Right afterwards, we will hear from my colleague Lydia about the Croatian project, and then we will have some 10 minutes for questions and answers. If you have no questions and answers, we keep on going, but we have at least time, 10 minutes for those.
Good morning from Corinne and Oskar. We were a dream team from Slovenia, therefore we will be presenting together. So today we will give you a brief overview of about the participatory approach in the exhibition building we developed within the Identity on the Line project, and its main points that we will try to emphasize on were flexible stages of participation, with instead of without. And in the end, we really wanted to show that we were following some guidelines for the professional work, which reflects in transparency, respect, and responsibility. So in 2021, the National Museum of Contemporary History in Slovenia has opened a temporary exhibition titled Up You Go, Stories about Identities on the Line. The exhibition was based upon the experiences and the stories of 14 informants that came from all the republics of former Yugoslavia and their descendants, so their children and grandchildren.
It presented the migration process that brought almost 300,000 people to Slovenia from the former Yugoslav republics. And the public discourse regarding the newcomers, especially in the years leading up to the dissolution of Yugoslavia and its aftermath, tended to position them as the newcomers, as this exotic other, and basically tended to homogenize these very diverse people and tended to equate them with the Yugoslav system that the newly independent Slovenia sought to distance itself of. And so the public discourse in general was rife with stereotypes and prejudice that had a very real impact on these communities, and culminated in the Erased Affair, when almost 26,000 people were completely erased from the permanent residence record from Slovenia. And so also their civic rights were completely erased. But the war that started in Yugoslavia, in the area after its dissolution, also had an impact on the immigrant community in Slovenia, because the fractions that arose on the territory in the war zone were also translated within the communities that were residing in Slovenia as well. And these wars were fought on and off for almost a decade, so it was a very long-term process, basically. In recent years, the stigmatization of individuals and groups in general with an immigrant background has resurfaced on a political level as well as on a societal level. And this is contributing to a climate of scapegoating and exclusion in general, in Slovenia as well as on a more general European level. It is therefore not surprising that the people, the community that we work with, were often very reluctant to share their story. This is the reason that the reasons for this were very varied. Some cited pressures from family members. Some were actually afraid that 30 years after the wars have ended, they would still face retaliation from the warring sides. And besides highlighting the sensitivity of the topic today, these attitudes speak to a sense of discomfort in basically presenting publicly an immigration background.
So the curatorial team has taken all this into account that Green has just presented, and therefore we've increased the participation of the informants in the design process. So by creating the exhibition in dialogue with them instead of talking about them, we've managed to open up the space to talk about sensitive experiences. And not only that, we managed to give them tools and the power so that the informants could make their own choices about the story they would like to have presented in the exhibition, within the exhibition. So we've devised a system that took the informants through several rounds of consultations at first, followed up by experimental and experiential joint workshops that were resulted in the end in the exhibition. Within the process, we also actively participate as ourselves as curators, sharing our own stories, being involved within this process to earn trust and to build trust. And this way we've gained a sense of belonging as well together, and also what the informants said was that they had the sense of being no longer the museum artifact, but the seldom and really self-standing people who presented their stories.
And so, in this instance, the role of the curatorial team had to expand beyond collecting, cataloging, and of course presenting objects. It encompassed mostly encouraging mutual learning, providing insight into the process behind exhibition making and museological work, but also building mutual trust, which was crucial in getting these stories out to the public, and also empowering the informants by giving them control over their own stories. And this is something that made them aware of the curatorial aspect of exhibition making, but also of the way their story, that were most of the time very, very personal, could live in a public space.
So the participatory process that we followed in exhibition design involved informants in the museum setting and enabled us to have an increased protection of the informant's rights and polyphonic and multi-layered presentation of the chosen topic. So as we've already started this presentation with, the main gains in the whole process were that there was a flexible level of participation that the participants themselves decided upon how much they would involve themselves. And then later on we had the approach, as we've already stated, that it was built with them instead of about them. And what our guiding principles were was, as I mentioned, first of all, transparency, respect, and responsibility. Thank you.